How far away do you think we are from being able to legitimately program in human language? Like we were talking about that earlier. 'Cause I'm doing it now. I'm using a cursor.sh, which is a VS Code fork, and I write a sentence or a paragraph of what I wanted to code, and it goes off and generates the code for it, and I do it in human language. Then I change it in human code,
Yeah.
in human language, and so I don't have to write the code if I don't want to, but I can't tell it to just make a whole distributed system and have it go do it. But like, I got to imagine we're getting there at some point where a product manager can just say, "This is my product," and it will build it. But is that 3 years, 5 years, 20 years? Like, what do you think? What's your guess?
I think that will never work. And let me explain why.
Still got to write computer code.
You still need the right computer code. Might we see a new language, programming language in the future based on LLMs? Maybe. Let me explain why. One of the big problems that we have in language, so now we're back onto the language philosophy kind of game, but the thing is like, the problem that we have in language is like, so if you tell me something, or if I tell you something, you have your context, I have my context.
Right. We filter it through our own.
Yeah, and then we express that in language, which is very unfortunate because we lose all that context and in when we're talking to each other, right? And experiences that we had and that kind of stuff. Let's say you have a website, right? And it's the most simple website that you can think of because it's just a landing page and it just has an
Hello world.
hello. It literally has, that's it. It's a landing page with hello world. And so the product manager goes like, I need a website that says hello world as a placeholder in big red letters. What's big and what's red? And what kind of font are these letters, right? Do we mean with big H1? Do we just want to set like a big number? What do we mean with red? Do we mean like the system default for red? Or do we have a certain tint of red because it turns out that this person is working for, I don't know, for a company where there's red in the logo? And so on and so forth. So what starts to happen?
But it became an iterative thing. Oh, make it bigger. Make it a darker shade of red. Like you get, but you can do that in human language.
But when we do that, what starts to happen? Which starts to formalize it, right? So we say things as like, make it 5 pixels bigger. 5 pixels bigger, 2 shades of red darker. What you start to see is what slowly starts to emerge is a formal language. What's a programming language? A programming language is a formal language to express something. And now you tell the model, do that again. So you have it twice. That's a function.
Yeah, loop or
loop. Keep doing that again. Right? So before you know it, the language what I find fascinating, that is like the work that's happening that's coming out of Stanford, it's called DSPy. And we spend a lot of time and effort on it. And it's a way of programming the prompt, right?
Yeah. Prompt engineering.
No, not prompt engineering. It's a new iteration after prompt engineering where you give certain programming-like instructions to DSPy and it just optimizes the prompt for you. It formalizes the prompt. The point that we're trying to make is that if we program something, before you know it, we start to introduce formal concepts to agree on what we want the system to do. Every time that we introduce something that is subjective, we're dealing with the problem, what does that mean? If you say, okay, if you tell the model, back to that example, hello world in big red letters, right? Then the subjectiveness is in big and in red. Then you could say a little bit bigger, then the subjectiveness sits in little bit. Is it a pixel? Is it 10 pixels?
But I think that's okay. I mean, this is how product managers iteratively refine a product is like, they don't think about the code that needs to be written. They think about the functional requirements. And I want it bigger. I want it more red. I want it,
What I think that will start to happen is that people will say that you then tell the model, if I say a little bit, it's like the previous you've done. But if I say a bit, it's like twice the previous thing you've done. And before you know it, you start to introduce like formal concepts to describe it. And it looks more than like human language, but it's a very similar like how Python or Ruby is a little bit more intuitive than C, and how C is more intuitive than assembly. That's what I meant. Might we see a new formal language that is even less,
something higher level?
Even higher level, yes. But I do believe that to interact with the machines, we need to give it some form of context, and we do that in a formal way, which then turns into a programming language. Might the paradigm shift completely? Sure, maybe. But the fact is that I think that what we might see earlier is like reverse engineered stuff, right? Create me a hello world landing page like that page.
Yeah. Something similar.
Yeah, something similar. I think that is something we will see sooner.
It's just easier to copycat something. I mean,
Yeah.
or make a derivative of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we interact with the machines, we need to provide it context. And how do we do that? We formalize it. We even do that as humans, right? So we just had a very long discussion because we had different contexts around the term hallucination.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I was thinking about like the term hallucination as like the token predicted after the other token is wrong and therefore it goes off the rails. And you use it in, let's see if I have your context correct now, as in like
Yeah, you use misinformation.
misinformation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we would, before we would have started this podcast, like, okay, let's make sure we have our nomenclature straight.
Yeah, yeah. What
If
does hallucination mean? Yeah.
Yes, exactly, and so on and so forth, right? And how we formalize it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then before you know it, it looks a lot like a programming language.
Yeah, it does. It does.